Cubs are exercising the option on Kyle Hendricks' contract. That means he's coming back. So we're going to talk about it right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. We want to exercise the option on your contract. It's easy to do. Like, subscribe, share. Tell your other Cubs friends about the channel. See if they'll jump on board with us and hang out. Make sure you comment in the comment section. Hit the thumbs up button if you like Cubs baseball and our content. And hit the bell so you know when we're dropping new shows and going live. And don't forget that Kyle Hendricks' former team, the Tennessee Smokies, celebrating their first championship in 45 years, and they're doing it with some amazing swag. SmokiesBaseball.com/store. Check it out now. All right, you see the banner. The Cubs are exercising their 2024 option on Kyle Hendricks. He's coming back $16.5 million after getting some Cy Young love. And with Marcus Stroman opting out of his contract and leaving that hole in the rotation, I guess if there was any question that maybe the Cubs would say, you know what, we're going to pass this year on Hendricks, or we'll try to rework something out. And if he goes, that's okay. All of that off the table. Now they got to figure out what they're going to do moving forward. And $16.5 million, they felt like that was worth it to have him around. So let's talk about Kyle Hendricks and what this means, and having him, I think, is a good thing. Look, the guy pitched in the World Series. He came up through the Cubs system after being traded by the Rangers for Ryan Dempster. And he's been great, you know. I mean, he was kind of an under-the-radar guy, and he's just pitched himself into becoming at least a Cubs Hall of Famer one day, right? I mean, you look at his career numbers, and the guy's in his 11 years, 93 and 69 and a 3.48 ERA. And then on top of that, it's been the postseason where I think all of us will always remember Hendricks, because he pitched in the biggest games that the Cubs won in 2016. Remember, he was the starter when the Cubs beat the Dodgers to go to the first World Series since 1945. He beat him at Wrigley Field Game 6. Then he came back Game 7 in Cleveland, got the start. A lot of us felt like Joe Maddon should have just left him in the game. We know how that all went down. The anniversary of that was a couple of days ago. But Hendricks has taken it all in stride. 2-4 postseason record, a 3.12 ERA. He's been a big game pitcher, and he's made 11 starts in the Cubs postseason matchup. So, you know, if you get into the playoffs, just having him and that experience is really going to help your roster. 2022 really weren't sure what was going to happen with him. He had the tear that he had to come back from, and he had to rework his body. He had to just really bust it to recover from that and come back. And velocity with shoulder issues is always, you know, one of those things that you wonder if it's going to come back. Well, it actually did. It started to climb a little bit in the second half. And you look at his numbers from last year, and I'm not talking about the second half of 2022. I'm talking about last year when he came back and put up pretty good numbers, 6-8 record, 3.74 ERA. You know, he wasn't the problem when the Cubs were trying to find starts down the stretch. It was, you know, other guys who struggled, including Marcus Stroman, who's not going to be with the team this year. Is he a dominant pitcher? He really never has been what I would call dominant, but he's been consistent and consistently good. And sometimes he struggles, but it seems like he always figures out a way to minimize the damage. He's a poker player. And that's why he gets compared to Greg Maddux. He's probably Greg Maddux light. I don't think that's a shot at him. Greg Maddux is one of the greatest pitchers of all times. And, you know, Kyle Hendricks is one of the greatest pitchers in Cubs history, you know, but they do the same things. They're smart. They know how to attack batters. You know, they pay attention to trends, and Kyle's great at being able to break down video and watch people's tendencies. So having him back, when you talk about this rotation, gives the Cubs, maybe he's a fourth or fifth guy at this point in his career. It still gives them a lot of innings and experience. And last year, he still threw 137 innings, and he's still not walking a lot of guys. 27 walks, 97 strikeouts. And, who knows how affected he was trying to, work through the injury that he had. But he did it, and you got an option on him. There may be an extension involved eventually. Now, let's talk about the rotation with Hendricks coming back for his 11th year. You got Justin Steele, who, with what they have right now, is the ace of the staff, flirted with the Cy Young Award, was fantastic. After getting some advice from John Lester, he was very John Lester-esque, to say the least, this year. Jameson Taillon, as critical as I've been about Taillon, and some of you guys have said, hey, man, $17 million a year gets you Jameson Taillon. That's not elite pitcher money anymore. I wish he was more consistent. But you know what? He did okay down the stretch, and hopefully that continues. The things for him have been injuries and then consistency, right? You got Hendricks, talked about him. Drew Smiley, we saw basically Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde when it comes to Smiley. Beginning of the season, the guy almost threw a perfect game. He was lights out. And then end of the season, had to go to the bullpen because he gave up so many runs in his starts, you never had a chance to win those games. Jordan Wicks, kind of gotten into him a lot because he was developed by the Cubs. Former first-round pick, left-hander, did really well last year. How's that adjustment going to be? What's that going to look like? But I'm guessing that he's in the starting rotation. Javier Assad, a guy I like a lot. He's kind of been that, start or bullpen guy, long relief, whatever. Ben Brown, who's in AAA, would have been at the big leagues last year, but had an injury. It wasn't an arm injury. How does he come back? How does he look? He's going to be, I think he's going to be from day one on the roster. I mean, it's just that time for him, right? Cade Horton. Now, he's the guy that I'm really excited about, the Cubs' top pitching prospect. And through all these guys that they've drafted and they tell us, hey, this is the next guy, and then you see them and they're not the next guy. This is the next guy. All he's got to do is just be consistent and stay healthy. Cade Horton will be fighting for the opening day starting job one day. I mean, he's that good. He's got the slider. He's got the fastball. He's a little bit mean, which I like, at least the way that he attacks batters and keeps them off the plate. He's going to be fun to watch. Who do the Cubs go after in free agency? That's another question that we have. We're wondering that, right? Where do they go? What do they do in the free agent game? Will they be players for Blake Snell? Austin Nola. Who are they going to go after? Or are they? Some of you guys feel like they're not going to want to spend the money. And then the funny thing is, a lot of us were okay with Marcus Stroman opting out. I saw projections where the guy might get $100 million and then a long-term deal. If I was the GM of the team, I wouldn't give him that. I just wouldn't, but would I've been okay with him coming back at $21 million? Yeah, I've been fine. It's fine that he's leaving. Michael Wacha is available. Had a video about that. It's official. He didn't, his option wasn't picked up, so he's going to be out there as well. So going to be interesting to kind of see what happens with pitching, but the Cubs are going to be in that market. One guy, though, that is returning is Kyle Hendricks. So you guys get in the comment section. Tell me what you think. I'm glad he's back. I'm a little biased. I know him. I've known him since he was a minor leaguer. I love the guy. And I guess I just at least want to have one of the champions still on the team. I think it's just, I don't know, nostalgia or not. I just like it. All right. You tell me what you guys like. And if you're not on our roster, please get there. Easy to do. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell. Again, thank you for hanging out with us on the Cubs baseball channel. And we're going to continue to cover the North Siders like a blanket. And there's going to be a lot more breaking news this week, too, by the way. Go Cubs.